Good afternoon. Chairman Erlob, I'm honored by your trust and inspired by your charge. I am grateful to all members of the Board of Trustees for their confidence and touched by the greetings from our entire community, administrators, staff, faculty, alumni, Bishop Malone, Sister Julia, and especially our students. I can't say it enough. Students, you are the reason we exist. Thank you, students, as well as the entire campus, for such a heartfelt welcome. I would like to give special thanks to the dignitaries that are with us today. Mayor Byron Brown, Senator Tim Kennedy, a very proud alumni. Senator, please stand. Be recognized. Thank you for being part of this special celebration. It is gratifying, and I am pleased to see my academic peers here from so many area colleges and universities, the American Council on Education Fellows, as well as former colleagues, mentors, and yes, students of mine. I also want to thank presidents and leaders from institutions outside of Western New York. Their presence reminds us we at DUville College are part of something greater than ourselves. We in higher education are part of a tradition which, in terms of its historical roots and longevity, is derived from and surpassed only by the world's religious institutions. It is an honor to share the auditorium with two former DUville presidents. Our 13th president, Sister Charlotte Barton, please stand. And our 14th president, Sister Denise Roach. Together, through your wise leadership, you have guided DUville to a position of great strength, poised to successfully enter our next chapter. Thank you. Thank you so much. I would also like to recognize and thank members of the Presidential Selection Committee, the Public Ceremonies Committee, with special recognitions to Nate Martin and Stephanie Addy, our co-chairs, Holly Carpenter and Philomene Cuzzello from the President's Office for their work in helping to make this day a success, the maintenance team that worked to make our campus look so beautiful for this special occasion, and all of the students, faculty, and staff who gave their time and talent to make today and the whole week possible. In fact, make this whole week incredible. Thank you so much. I am forever grateful to my entire family who is here with us today. I think there's 35 of them strong in here in the front. They've now all become recruiters for the college. Especially my children and their significant others, who are delegates proudly representing their various alma mater, and most especially my husband, Stephen Nicholas, first man of the college. Thank you. I am thankful to each of you who has touched my life and led me to this moment. And I'm excited to call DUville and the city of Buffalo, with its 2-1 Buffalo Bills, woo-woo, my home. To say I stand before you As someone who is both honored and humbled to be installed as the 15th president of this great institution is a vast understatement. I am honored to have been invited to do this work, to do the work of the DUville community on behalf of all of you. And I am humbled by the remarkable 109-year-old history of faith, service, and mission that precedes my time here. DUville College is founded in goodness. Any visioning of its future must begin with looking back at the inspiring legacy of service and charity that is DUville College. Not to mention that as a former professor, I like a good story. And as Bishop reminded us this morning and again this afternoon, our history begins in the first half of the 18th century with the work of St. Marguerite d'Youville, a French-Canadian widow who founded Sisters of Charity, commonly known as the Grey Nuns. Surrounded by deprivation and despair, St. Marguerite unselfishly answered the call and tended to a community of neighbors afflicted with smallpox, a disease that killed over 1/2 of those infected and nearly 80% of infected children, eventually expanding her mission to include the operation of the General Hospital of Montreal. After St. Marguerite's death, the Order of Grey Nuns continued to expand to other cities. A part of that growth, on April 4th, 1908, the New York State Legislature granted DUville a charter to become a college. The founders of DUville envisioned a college where women would receive a rigorous education, the kind that was available in their time and place only to men. In the first commencement speech of 1912, William Martin, Director of Studies at Young DUville College, with incredible foresight professed, "No course of study, no system of education possesses the validity that would justify its being fixed for a long period of time. A system of education that has eyes only for the past and sees things only through the eyes of the past fails to realize the very purpose of its being." How insightful are those words? Because it is indeed only through change and adaptability that we fully realize the purpose of our being. And so it is that among its many accomplishments, DUville was the first college in Western New York to offer baccalaureate degrees to women. It started the area's first 4-year nursing program in 1942, and under the steady guidance of Sister Denise, opened numerous health profession programs, introduced accelerated degrees, and brought the Buffalo Public Schools to our campus, among many other astute initiatives, all expanding the ability of DUville graduates to carry out the founding mission of service and education. And education has always been a central force in my life. The importance of acquiring knowledge was instilled in me in a very early age. So was the importance of service and sacrifice. Although my grandmother was one of the first women to graduate from Syracuse University in the early part of the 20th century, my mother, Betty Mae Clemo, never had the chance to go to college. Born on a small farm in Baldensville, New York, a devoted daughter and sister, she cared for her sick father while helping to put her brother through college during her teenage years. For over 40 years, she served as an assistant to education administrators, ironically, to people just like me. She was behind the scenes, but had an unmatched work ethic, committing herself to the supporting role in education of others, while making a happy life for my sisters and me. Focusing on my mother isn't to ignore my father, Charles Garnet Clemo. Born in Ottawa, he emigrated at the age of 16 in search of better opportunities. A naturalized citizen, he served in the U.S. Army as a medic in the Korean War. Rarely speaking of his time there, but clearly proud of his role healing others on the battlefield. After returning from abroad and without a college degree, he worked for 35 years in the service industry. I am proud of what he did for our family, our country, and what he did to instill character and love in me. Because of their hard work and firm belief in my potential, I was blessed to be a first-generation college student. My mother and father, both of whom I am sure are watching from above, taught me through example that a meaningful education requires both knowledge and service. You can't achieve the first without living the second. I share these personal reflections with you because it is a history of my upbringing that prepared me for the role in leading this college. But it is the rich history of this college that drew me here. Going forward, DeUville will continue along its progressive path and lead change and innovation in higher education. We will embrace challenges as opportunities. Like St. Marguerite DeUville and her relentless drive to heal the sick, we ask ourselves, what are the challenging needs of our time? And how will we adapt to conquer these challenges? 3 directions are clear. First, we will galvanize our efforts to develop courageous leaders who care for the world. And not to brag, but we already have a remarkable record to boast about. The impact of a DeUville education and the leadership it fosters is evident in all of our alumni. Every day, our alumni break through glass ceilings, improve health practices, change the way children are taught, launch new businesses and nonprofits, save lives, or give their own lives to save others. And so it was with Eleanor Grace Alexander, nursing class of '61. Affectionately described by family members as a tough broad, Eleanor had, by 1967, achieved success as an operating room supervisor and was engaged to be married. But something was missing. She felt compelled to serve. Friends suggested volunteer work such as the Peace Corps, but Eleanor insisted on military service, so much so that she enlisted in the Army, the only branch that would guarantee her a tour in Vietnam. Enlisting in May of '67, leaving behind her hope chest and wedding dress, Eleanor was assigned to the 85th Evacuation Hospital in Quy Nhon, Vietnam. Recalled as top-notch, never got rattled, and well-groomed for the chaos of a field hospital, Captain Alexander put her DeUville education to the ultimate test. 5 months into her assignment, she was part of an emergency medical team ordered closer to the battlefield. She and a team worked grueling 14-hour shifts. The troops are getting hit hard, she wrote home to her mother. For the past 3 days, I've been running on about 4 hours sleep. Funny thing is, I love it. After 6 weeks in the field, during the return flight, their plane tragically crashed into a mountainside. Alexander and the other 25 passengers and the crew were all killed. She was 27 years old and was posthumously awarded the Bronze Star for heroic and meritorious achievement. Our current times demand actually call out desperately for such heroic leadership. But developing leaders in such a fast-paced world must likewise change with the times. In his latest book, Thank You for Being Late, Thomas Friedman explains in his wonderfully understandably style that it now takes only 10 years to get used to the sort of technological changes that we used to take a couple of generations. But what good is it when technology becomes obsolete in 5 years? Friedman, like DeUville's first commencement speaker, is optimistic, however, arguing that the human species is very adaptable. And adaptability is what ultimately breeds success. So we here at DeUville are adapting to the education of future leaders to our ever-changing world. We are designing a new educational paradigm where leadership development resides in an inclusive and collective process, a process that is spread across networks of knowledge and people, where students are the curators of their own learning, and where innovation and technology provide the infrastructure to drive desired change. We are prepared to unveil an educational paradigm that develops leaders to stay ahead of the pace of change. We will become a beacon for developing competent, compassionate, and relevant leaders with the courage and resilience to address the pressing challenges that confront us now and beyond. Our second direction is to expand the power of DeUville in the world. Building on our legacy, DeUville will expand our work across the globe because the challenges for this century are borderless. We must prepare students to live and work in a global community with global fluency and full engagement. We will prepare our students for an unpredictable world in powerful ways. A recent example begins over 10 years ago in the office of my predecessor, Sister Denise. At that time, 4 nuns from the Immaculate Heart Sisters of Africa and Tanzania came to her and asked if DeUville would be willing to provide them an education. Their home, a remote corner of Tanzania, is a place of dirt roads and distant markets, no running water or electricity, limited schools and health care, a deforested land with high rates of disease, malnutrition, and mortality. It is a place where life is hard, especially for young girls and women. DeUville graciously enabled these sisters to enroll and complete their education free of charge. With the backing of this education, Sisters Teresina, Agnes, and Janifa returned to Tanzania, where they played an instrumental role with the help from the Buffalo-based charity Girls Education Collaborative in the creation of a comprehensive regional boarding school for girls. Dedicated this past June on 1,000 acres, the school, when fully developed, will enroll 1,500 girls in grades pre-K through secondary. The boarding school in Katanga, Tanzania, will provide a safe and nurturing community where education will unlock each girl's potential. Imagine that. A DeUville education of 4 exponentially changes the lives of thousands. And to the DeUville faculty, we thank you. How proud you must be of the imprint you have made on the lives of these remarkable women and the generations of girls that will benefit from your teachings. But our global relations are not only a half a world away, they are half a block away. When I look out the window of my office, visit our campus buildings, or stroll through our neighborhood, I see people coming and going without pattern or regularity. I'm struck by the colorful faces of diversity that I encounter. My ears might pick up Spanish, Vietnamese, Mandarin, Karen, Somali, or Amharic. I can't help but marvel at the rich and textured diversity of our West Side neighborhood. Buffalo is not just a city of good neighbors with a proud local history dating back to the 1800s, but a city undergoing a true renaissance and reflecting back the many cultural shifts we see throughout our country and around the globe. As I have seen and heard, I sense a larger world being brought into focus. And this only reminds me of DeUville's place in a bustling, rapidly shifting, 21st century higher education marketplace. In this new era, we are committed to improve the safety and ensure the well-being of our neighbors in Buffalo and the West Side by training our students to provide culturally responsive health care, assisting with the integration of children and families into school and college, and improving the cultural competence of all of our students, faculty, and staff. We will create additional community-based and international internships, more clinical placements, expand more study abroad and study away opportunities, enhance faculty resources in international relations, and support more community outreach. In short, DUVA will ensure that every student's experience is a global one, whether it's here in our globally networked neighborhood or in a needy nation abroad. Our third direction is to increase opportunity with dedicated donors and trusted partners by our side. Income inequality in our nation has led to severe education inequality. Here in our own city of Buffalo, inequitable opportunity means not all youth have access to education and circumstances that set them up for success in school, college, and career. Only 48% of students of color graduate from city high schools in 4 years, compared to 70% of white students. And sadly, the gap widens even more when you examine the college going rate and college completion rates among our local youth. Nationally, a recent study reported that over the past 4 decades, college completion rates for our wealthiest families has risen dramatically from 44 to 77%, while among our poorest, the rate of college completion has risen from 6 to a paltry 9%. When I went to college, I was supported by the generosity of those who came before me. They didn't know me, my family, or my circumstances, but they knew the power of education. Access to education then, as now, is the path to equality. The statesman and civil rights activist W.E.B. Du Bois framed it this way: of all the civil rights of which the world has struggled, the right to learn is undoubtedly the most fundamental. And thankfully, there are alumni and friends of the college, many of whom who are in this room today, who have the same mindset and generous foresight to invest in our students, students with humble beginnings but with bright futures. And I am confident that our valued work here at DUville will inspire many more to invest in the college's most treasured asset, our students. There have been so many kind people who have supported the college through the years, like recent benefactors, the late Richard Garman and his family, to whom the Patricia H. Garman School of Nursing was recently named in honor of his wife, Pat, who not only graduated with her BSN in 1976, but also went on to teach psychiatric nursing here at DUville. And the Bauer family, who named our newest building the School of Arts and Sciences and Education after their father, Dr. Charles Bauer, and mother, Mary Schweitzer Bauer, who also graduated with her BSN in 1947. These transformational, multi-million-dollar acts of generosity, in addition to so many other heartfelt gifts, allow DUville to meet the financial needs of students, change lives, and offer opportunity to many. Support of these students is a shared commitment, and we will uphold these values into the future. DUville will work diligently to remain affordable, accessible, and offer value that families across the income spectrum are seeking. Even today, we are a top-rated college for value and are recognized for high first-year earnings of our graduates. When I envision our ideal DUville, I envision an equitable and inclusive community where people have opportunities, resources, and tools needed to achieve their potential to lead fulfilling lives. An opportunity will come in many forms. We will not only offer an exceptionally high quality and high value education to those that want to learn in Buffalo, but we will expand our reach to offer education to people who seek better access at a distance. Expanded 24/7 online learning and on-site at your workplace are but two examples. We are prepared to cascade our well-respected name and signature academic programs far beyond our campus to reach increased numbers of students through partnerships and collaborations that will allow us to deliver relevant experiences and programs in settings that will serve as living laboratories for learning. We are committed to embrace the education wherever we find it. We are taking education to the people where they are, where their needs are. The 21st century has given us a pope who, in his understated yet powerful ways, declared the modern servants of faith should have the smell of sheep on them. We need to get out of our comfortable buildings and go where the people are. In his parlance, be shepherds of those who are in need. It's a powerful message for the religious faithful. It is just as powerful for those of us in higher education. We need to get out of our ivory towers and go to where our students are. Pope Francis broadens this imagery to something that hits even closer to those of us here at DUville College, using the field hospital as an example of how the modern church should operate. Field hospitals, unlike their stationary counterparts, are mobile, going outside of themselves to respond to emergencies. They neither withdraw from the world nor only treat those who come to them. The college, like the church, needs to be on the battlefield, a core of individuals taking risks to deal with the needs of those who are most challenged in today's knowledge economy. We want to leave the college a world a better place for future generations. We want our students to have the best opportunities to reach their full potential and find fulfilling lives and careers. And much like the Pope's shepherds, field hospital nurse Captain Alexander, the nuns of Katanga, former DUville faculty member Pat Garman, or alumna Mary Schweitzer Bauer, none of us who work in these fields can truly be happy in life until we hitch our wagon to something that is much bigger than we are. The work that is being done by this college is certainly much bigger than any one of us. All of us can, however, find expression in our innermost values if we keep in mind the mission the Grey Nuns have set for us. We never refuse to serve. And we will only endure and have purpose in our being if we innovate and adapt to the fast-changing, dynamic, and beautiful world that God has given us. I am deeply grateful for the invitation to serve DUville College. I am committed to giving it my all. But it is not a job for one. It is a job for many. We have a great deal to accomplish. The world is waiting for us. So let's go, DUville. Let's get to work.